Forward. Forward. Forward.
Fall in.
Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? You know what it is. It's me, your man, Trey the Commission. We rocking with the favorite vets on the next First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So let's get in and fall in as we get to talking about what's been crackulating for sports in the last couple of days, hours. Actually, when you look at it, some bittersweet moments. Of course, when you look at it, of course, the sweetness is the NBA season is going to be on and popping come this evening as we look forward to seeing the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, and the Phoenix Suns. So it's all about to go down and be lit at this time. Of course, the bitter portion of it is the San Francisco 49ers lost last night. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Shout out to my man, Eric Smalls. I continue to say it throughout the show till we're done. If you don't know Eric or you don't peep out Eric, he has a little thing he does when the team loses, regardless of who it is or when it is. He always says for the fans to come holler at him. So I'm going to have to holler at my man Eric. Especially, it's so unfortunate that it was his team that they lost to, of all teams to lose to. But we're going to talk a bit about that. What's going on, Frat? What's going on? Let's glad to have your information with us this morning, brother. What's good with you? So we basically got that tapping in a little bit closer to the World Series. And for those who's out there that get a chance to check out it, in the words of my man Eric in the MLB version, Houston Astro fans, come holler at me. What is good, Houston? I'm not going to even hold y'all. I'm going to be direct and blunt. I actually was hoping that the Houston Astros were going to lose. I still have I'm not going to say I carry beardness because Lord knows that'd be a lie, but I do hold a certain place in my heart. And when it comes down to the Astros, one thing you can say about the Houston Astros, they have been dominant over the last couple of years, claiming or getting close to claiming championship after championship after championship. However, yet again, they're in a position to where they will be sitting with the rest of our teams at home watching the World Series as they were dispatched by the Texans, winning their second game in as many as nights. Texas 11, Houston 4 after the 9 innings was done, sending Houston back down 35 to wallow in the loss. Texas goes on to compete for the World Series after last night having a pretty dominant attack. 4 runs in the fourth inning, kind of like put them out there. And basically, Houston wasn't able to recover. So, I mean, but it happens to the best of us. It's nothing to actually hang their hat on. As I stated, Houston has been dominant, has held some type of dominance over the last couple of years. Now it's Arlington's time. It's Texas times. They'll get an opportunity to see if they can go ahead and win another one. I think their last World Series in which Texas was a part of or even won was in 2011, if I'm exact. So of course, hoping that continues. I mean, I ain't gonna say continue. I'm not gonna say that yet. The jury is still out on who will be representing for the National League, in which, of course, the Arizona Cardinals did what they needed to do to put themselves in position to be able to compete as they were able to take care of business earlier in the day, winning by the score of 5-1 over the Philadelphia Phillies. Now both teams are tied with only one chance to win a game that's going to put them in the World Series to face off against the aforementioned Texas Rangers. So, of course, going down this evening, of course, the Philadelphia Phillies and Arizona Cardinals will be facing off today. And let me make sure I give the right time. Today at 7 p.m. So that's going to be going on. Diamondbacks have an opportunity to put themselves in a position. Will come back with their third game, 3 consecutive games in a row, with the last putting them in the series. In the World Series, but of course that might be a tall order when you look at it. That could be kind of detrimental to win 3 consecutive games with the opportunity to go to the series, World Series. Of course, after the win, let's say the Diamondbacks do go ahead and dispatch that of the Phillies and put themselves in position. I feel like they've spent all that energy, or maybe they get a chance to recover, because if they are whomever is victorious today will go on to start the series in Texas at the Rangers home on Friday. Team time yet to be determined. So, I mean, it's up from here. Basically, saying congratulations to the Texans, to the Texas Rangers for getting the victory. Now they sit waiting. Today, we get a chance to see the Diamondbacks, the Phillies compete. And then we'll know who's going to be in this year's World Series, looking to become the 2022-23 World Series champions for the Major League Baseball. So it should be a good game. As I said before, in which I'm not sure how long I'll be on this morning, but we're going to talk a little bit about something. Let's go here, because I like to set up and end it on a different note today. So, of course, as I stated, the San Francisco 49ers faced off last night with the Minnesota Vikings, in which I didn't get a chance to catch all the game due to the fact I was coming in for work, but I did catch the last part of the game, in which I was able to witness and take in the fact that the 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy threw 2 fourth-quarter interceptions while they were driving to put themselves in position for a score. So, of course, you already know the San Francisco 49ers are currently without their Pro Bowl quarterback, wide receiver Deebo Samuels, as he is recovering from a shoulder surgery. So, of course, that put a heavy workload on Christian McCaffrey, currently nursing the oblique injury, in which I believe he was present in every offensive snap. At the time in which came up, I think he was at 44, and that was in the third. So you had that situation. Jawan Jennings was getting a heavy load, and was able to start and see some ball. Brandon Ayuk was able to do his thing. George Kittle on the last day of the week, in which was tight end day, of course, given a heavy workload. Brock Purdy was actually 21 for 30 for 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 1 sack for 12 yards. Christian McCaffrey toted the ball 15 times for a total of 45 yards. He did get a touchdown. Brock carried it 5 times for 19 yards himself. Kittle had a chance with 1 for 2, and even Mitchell carried it once with a negative aspect. For receiving, of course, as I said, tight end day, 7 targets, total of 5 receptions, 78 yards for George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk brought it in for 5 for 57 yards himself. Jawan Jennings was 5 for 54. Christian McCaffrey did accumulate 51 51 yards off of 3 receptions, giving him a touchdown. Of course, that was late in the second or a third, I think it was. Ray McLeod the third, 2 receptions for 2 yards, for 20 yards. And of course, Ross Dwelly was 1 for 12. Of course, it did get an amount. Christian McCaffrey did have a fumble for a loss. But all that to be said, that was, saying a heavy dose of 50s across the board for those receivers. Digging them out to diddly squat, of course, as the Christian Cousins and company kept applying pressure. Cousins, 35 for 45 for 378 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Alexander Matthew rushed the ball 8 times for 39 yards. Cam Akers was 10 for 31. Brandon Powell had a 1 for 5 yards as well. Kirk had 2 for a negative 1 yards. The 49ers, interestingly enough, in their heralded defense as what we knew to be at the beginning of the season did not have a single sack. They could not get to the quarterback. They did exactly what was needed to be done, and the offensive line kept Bosa, Hargraves, everybody else off of their quarterback. Cousins, of course, with quick precision passing, getting the ball out. If that is the case, I don't know why the 49ers can do something to make that up, to press or even put in set packages to take away the quick pass. In any case, and wasn't saying to blitz, because of course the blitz is what got the 49ers their touchdown when they was caught in the blitz and gave Christian McCaffrey his one lone receiving touchdown. Jordan Addison had an interesting night, a pretty good night, honestly, when you look at it. 7 receptions for 10 targets for 123 yards receiving, plus 2 touchdowns. TJ Hawkinson, 11 receptions off of 12 targets for 86 yards. Brandon Powell had 4 for 64 yards. Of course, it was a point in which Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson were ailing and wasn't necessary in the game. Powell picked up the difference. I think drawing a pass interference, plus 2 quick catches. KJ Osborne 5 for 47 on the night. Cam Akers did get 2 receptions with 30 yards added to him. Ty Chandler had 1 for 12. Tristan Jackson has 1 for 7, as well as Josh Oliver and Alexander with 2 receptions apiece, totaling 9 yards. In state, the 49ers take the second consecutive L, still the NFC West leader, but second consecutive L, 17-22 by way of the Minnesota Vikings. I'll holler at my man Eric, due to the fact that now the Vikings did get the best of us this year. Last year, San Francisco handled business on them. I don't know what's going on. Brock Purdy's coming down to earth. 2 consecutive losses after going on, I think, a 17-game win streak, or pretty close to it. No, 5, 12, 13. I think 14 games, 14 consecutive preseason games with a win for Brock Purdy. Now here we are, 2 consecutive losses, both within 8 points, an average of 4 points for each game. When you look at it, we lost to 2 points. We lost to the Cleveland Browns just the other day. Last week being by 2 points. Would have had a 1-point victory had Jake Moody, rookie kicker, converted on the conversion. So we lost that game, and then come back the next game the next week on Monday Night Football and lose by 5 points to the Minnesota Vikings. Both, when you look at it, inferior teams, honestly, when you look at the records currently, wasn't good. But of course, it seems like their organizations put together what was the right formula to be able to keep them off. I don't know if it's to say that the Trent Williams injury, if that had anything, although Moore did hold his own. Like I said, Purdy was only sacked once for 12 yards. However, I'm very sure pressures and hurries and stuff like that played the part. So it could have been one of those things to where we didn't have the great Moore. Trent Williams that was holding down his left side and guarding the back end to where more time was given. It's just one of those things. It happens. It's football any given Sunday. But of course, it has a little sting to it when it's your squad, of course, your favorite team. To see those 2 losses, as I stated earlier, San Francisco was going to have to do what they needed to do in order to keep pace with the other teams. Now there's only 2 teams that sit with a 1-loss record, that being the Philadelphia Eagles, the other being the Kansas City Chiefs. And yet here we are, of course. But it's not to say that there are some good teams that are. Detroit Lions is still out there, 5-2. Miami Dolphins 5-2. So someone has to basically get a loss in state, and that's understand. So I rock with it. San Francisco, y'all need to get y'all ish together and get back into the winning ways in which you have that quest for 6. I'm getting tired of that slogan when we continuously are in the position to end that conversation. But I mean, it is what it is. In San Francisco takes the L, unfortunately, and now we have to. And I digress, but we'll be back in there soon enough. It's interesting. Like, you had players, the Bagnet showed up and got their victory over the course of the weekend. So I look forward to seeing. Of course, you have other things. Browns running back and forward is going to be expected to miss 2 weeks. Enter possibly Kareem Hunt. This is the reason why they brought him back, to see what did he do. Maybe get a heavy workload. Or I'm very sure that they're going to continue to look for or have some other players, running backs, in their running back room. But Jerome Ford is out, possibly with an ankle injury, missing 1 to 2 weeks for the Cleveland Browns. So we're going to see how that goes. In unfortunate news this morning, as it hit yesterday, wide receiver for the Saints, Chris Olave, was arrested, accused of speeding, in which it was stated that he was doing 70 miles in a 30-mile zone. Picked up, of course, released on bail. Their organization is aware of it. I don't know if saying some. So I think some of the things we look at is like, oh, if we was making that type of money, we wouldn't do this at the third. Instead is all cap. If you was making a certain type of money, you probably would do the same things that you do now. If you speed now, you're gonna speed then. I'm sure of it. So it's just one of the things. But when you see when it comes down to players in the NFL, or particularly wide receivers and speed, that continues to be an ongoing thing. 70 in a 30, that's gang banging in the left lane for real. But he was picked up, released. I'm very sure he's going to probably get. He was going to probably most likely get a ticket for excessive speed or reckless driving, I think it is. But I mean, worst things that happened, as we know, currently Ruggs is out of the NFL and incarcerated for his transgressions when it comes to speed. So let that be a lesson, especially to our up and coming superstars. Jared Jackson, for the NFL suspended him, the Broncos safety, 4 games for his hits, basically saying that he is out of pocket. And of course, his latest hit happened over the weekend versus Green Bay. I don't know if you would say that was necessary, a legal hit, but he did catch the receiver while he was defensive. Idealization is he led with the helmet as opposed to the shoulder pad and caught him. And now he's going to be docked 4 games for that, 4 checks. Unfortunate. But I mean, the Broncos, not the best of teams at this point, but I'm very sure that could have helped. So NFL on their dizzle, sit up and checking to make sure that they keep compliance. So that basically goes to show that everyone keep their head on the swivel. Hey, got to check that center mass while safeties. Make sure y'all tapped in, of course, just like when we was on the range as service members. What else we got? What else we got for the NFL? I'll say that for tomorrow. Oh, last but not least, let's talk about this, right? Do we or do we not think that the Atlanta Falcons were purposely trying to omit the fact that Bijan Robinson, their 8th round pick from the last draft, was not going to be able to play. Of course, the NFL is doing an investigation to see and looking into the compliance for the injury report, as Bijan Robinson did not play in the game until late in the fourth quarter, where he ran got a 3-yard gain to what kind of like they used to set up Young Ho Fat. Koo for the go-ahead field goal in their game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bijan Robinson didn't play at all. He played, I think, a total of 5 snaps, I think, in which he only carried the ball once. Was that last carry that basically ended up utilizing to win the game. So now the NFL is looking into it, saying that he never was reported as being sick. From what Bijan Robinson said, he wasn't feeling well on Saturday night, in which he took some medication with the hopes that he'll feel better the next morning. What ended up happening is he didn't feel any better. He still was feeling a little groggy, wasn't feeling too hot. Did go ahead and suit up, of course, still not feeling well. They did, like I said, did give him some snaps. However, he wasn't being utilized to the point to where he was already being utilized before. And now the NFL is investigating the situation for compliance. So we have that currently. So do you think, what y'all think? Y'all think it was a ruse, or do you think he really legitimately just wasn't feeling well and they did what they could to get him out there, and in state it just didn't come out? In the NBA, so the round ball is back. Round ball is back. Is going down in every way, form, or fashion. Starting this week, all into next week. Late this week, all into next week, we'll be having the armed forces all service teams competing, men's and women. That's going down in Fort Moore. So if you're down there the 29th of November 6th, be sure to tap in and fill in, as military basketball is full up and thriving. I hope, I'm in the process now of trying to get those coaches on, separate games, hopefully at the end of this week, to get those coaches on so we can sit up and have a conversation. Let's go. Military, armed forces, all Army, all Navy, all Marines, all Air Force pulling up to talk about it. So we got that pulling up and getting ready to go down. Hopefully, we'll, of course, be tapped in to see, be a part of that as we get to talking to those factions to see what can we expect, what can we see. Of course, the NBA round ball, in which everyone seems to watch, is going down. That's tonight's games, the first game of a doubleheader for the kickoff this week. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets will be kicking off at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in Denver, as they'll be tapping in. And, of course, after that game, keep it locked into what's good, B? I'm gonna have to see what I can do for you. Hit me up. If y'all know about that Monopoly Go, I'm very sure y'all do. Hey, if y'all on that Monopoly Go, I need some stickers. Just like she said she needs some stickers, I need some stickers too. It's my favorite pastime. I got you, B. Janae, I got you. Actually, congratulations on your graduation too, sis. Represents Hub City. So, like I said, Sunday, the Warriors will be tapping in at 9 p.m. Correction. At 9 tonight, the Warriors will be tapped in for the later game, as they'll be competing against the Warriors in Golden State. We get a chance to see Chris Paul as he gets ready to face off against his team. Different faces, different places, all around to a degree. Now Bradley Beal, they're without DeAndre Ayton. Nurkic is there. So it's going to be a whole different type of vibe. It should be a good game. Should be able to tap in and watch it. So it should be interesting. A couple of people just got a little bit richer, got their pockets filled out. In any case, Timberwolves signed Jaden McDaniel to a 5-year, $136 million deal. Yes, ma'am. I got you. Agreed to a 5-year, $136 million extension. Now carrying him through the 27-28 season. Oh, correction, the 29-30 season. So Jaden McDaniels will be locked in, being able to get paid for in receiving his extensions. Of course, another extension that was paid out. The Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks signed Josh Green to his own 3-year, $41 million deal. Putting him in the likes, keeping them locked in with Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and Grant Hill. So something came across my feed the other day, and I really didn't get a chance to look at it. I know what I'm saying, but I'm really finna take concerted efforts to be more locked in. So please forgive me for just a brief synopsis of. But the conversation was, in which it was Kenyon Martin that actually was more at the bane of it all. The conversation was, who was the best player for the Dallas Mavericks? Now, it was a panel, not a panel. It was during the podcast in which Kenyon Martin came to the defense and stated that Kyrie Irving is better than Luka Doncic. Kyrie Irving is the best player on the Dallas Mavericks team. And so I sat there. I didn't get a chance to listen to what Kenyon Martin's reasoning was, but I tried to pull from my own derivative and figure out, like, is Kyrie Irving better than Luka Doncic at the end state of it once it's all said and done? Now, of course, you got to take in consideration for a player of Doncic's size that he's pretty nifty and shifty. He's a bucket. He gets a bucket. But when you take in consideration Kyrie with the smooth, silky handle, all right shooting ability, the ability to get to his spots and stuff like that. I don't know. Kenyon might have been on something, but I'm going to go back and look at that clip and find the actual entirety of it, so I can get more of a whole outlook and be able to come back and talk about it. So if you have, go check that out. But off of just the strength of what you see, is Kyrie better than Luka Doncic? Or correction, let me preface it correctly. Is Kyrie Irving the best player on the Dallas Mavericks team? Or is it Luka Doncic? Which one? What y'all think, fam? Just something to sit up and take in consideration. But that did come up. But as I was stating, the reason for that was, of course, as I stated, Josh Green, again, signed to 3 years, $41 million contract to stay put in Dallas. Of course, the 18th pick out of the 2020 draft for the Dallas Mavericks. 40% from three, 60% on field goals. Not bad. So maybe he will be what's needed in Dallas to give him a little. I'm not even checking for Dallas. Honestly, I won't even hold you. They haven't even been necessarily on my radar in conversations, especially taking consideration where they are or where they've been. We usually see Dallas and Doncic and company as always in the thick of it, and then at some point they fall off, and then you're like, what happened to the Mavericks? And then you start talking about the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves. You know what? Now I think about it, I'm kind of fearful of the Timberwolves. I think they got some pieces that's going to give the Lakers. But you always know it's Lake Show on mine. But I do think that that's a team to watch out for. You have to take a look. That's going to have to be a deep dive in who was to watch out for this coming year. Of course, as we get to it, well, we'll get to it in a second. Another extension. These players are getting their little ducats filling them pockets. Onyeka Aguilar, of course, represent from USC, from the Chino Hills area in California, gets a 4-year, $62 million extension with the Atlanta Falcons. Basically taking him through, I think this 28 for the most part. 2028 season. Currently averaging 9.7 rebounds for Atlanta. Still a young player, still development, I would think. 6th round overall pick when he was selected. In the same draft class, and he's also has been around other extensions like Sadiq Bey, Obi Toppin, James Wiseman, Emmanuel Quickly, and Patrick Williams. Excuse me. So now he's in position. Now he's set up in a position. Hopefully that now gives him a little reprieve so he can go out and just do work in this upcoming season. Additionally, what is the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching feeling, as I heard this morning, for all, what's good, Anthony? What's good? Morning, brother. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's good with you? What's also heartbreaking when you take in consideration that, I'm not going to even lie, as a Laker fan, I just knew come 2025, we was going to be set to probably pick up a huge piece, that piece being Giannis Antetokounmpo. Unfortunately, to the dismay, Antetokounmpo, Giannis, Greek Freak as you know him, signed a $186 million 3-year extension with the Milwaukee Bucks, which will keep him in Milwaukee at minimum through the 26-27 season. He does have a player option for the 27-28 season. So now he's not going nowhere. I guess bringing in Dame Lillard put him in position to where he feels like they are competitive. Actually, I'm very sure he's not the only one that feels that he's competitive, as the sports books are going crazy, putting the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics as the season front runners to win the title. So all the sports books have them. Some has the Boston Celtics edging out the Milwaukee Bucks just barely. But that's crazy. Like, that's what it takes. Dame Lillard is the answer. That's what you're saying. That is what you're saying. That is what y'all feel like the basketball gods is telling y'all, that Dame Lillard is the answer, and is going to put Milwaukee back in the winner's circle at season's end. That's what I'm hearing. Take in consideration, right? Although they did add some pieces. Matter of fact, while I'm looking at it, let me go check out this roster real quick. So, but like I said, that's basically what you're selling. Please, anyone out there that's watching, that's tapped in right now, confirm, deny that those pieces, that now the Milwaukee Bucks all of a sudden have became the front runners only due to, and I'm not, no, don't hold me. I'm not talking, you know what I'm saying? Dame is that dude. I'm not disputing that. I will, you know what I'm saying? Dame is a problem. But so they had Giannis Antetokounmpo, Thanos Antetokounmpo, Malik Beasley, Marcus Bolden, Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder, AJ Green, Andre Jackson Jr., Damian Lillard, Chris Livingston, Brook Lopez, Robert Lopez, Chris Middleton, Cameron Payne, Bobby Portis, Ty Washington Jr., and Lindell Wellington. That is the roster currently for the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh, Malik Beasley. I'm sorry. I completed that Beasley up. Malik Beasley will. So that is that's the brain trust for the Milwaukee Bucks. That is what y'all saying is going to be victorious and walk away with the championship this year once they get that mesh together. Of course, Giannis is going to start. Damian Lillard is going to start. Chris Middleton is going to start. Brook Lopez is going to start. And I would presume Malik Beasley is going to play the 2. Or Pat Connaughton, one of the two. Malik or Pat. I think it's going to be Malik. So what we're saying is Dame, Beasley, Middleton, Giannis, and Lopez as starters, most likely. Portis, Payne, Beauchamp, Connaughton, Crowder off the bench is going to be, I don't know. I start to say that, look at it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it. But, of course, when you look at the Boston Celtics roster and bring that into perspective, I don't know. They might be a little nastier than what that is in Milwaukee. Delano Banton, I ain't gonna say he's gonna move. O'Shea Brissett, Jaylen Brown, J.D. Davidson, Sam Hauser, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Luke Cornett, CV Malaku, Christus Porzingis, Peyton Pritchard, as we know, he signed the deal. Nehemiah Quetta, Lamar Stevens, Jason Tatum, Jordan Walsh, and Derek White. That sounds a little weaker in my opinion, honestly. Boston, I don't know. I mean, they got Tatum and Brown. That's a problem in itself. Oh, you know what, Holiday? I don't know. That might not be enough. I know a lot of people feel Al Horford should have been sent on about his way. He continues to be an intricate part of the Boston Celtics contingent. But that don't sound too. It might be on to something. Of course, like we said, tonight we was going down. So they had that was 1 and 2 in the sports book. Next team, which let's take a look at their roster. The next 3 teams actually take a look at their roster. Golden State came in at 5. I think Phoenix came in at 3, and Phoenix came in at 4. And of course, last year's defending champion, Denver Nuggets, comes in at number 3 when it comes to the sports book and the betting. So let's take a look at what we know as the Denver Nuggets. They did have a little bit of turnover as some players decided to go on to bigger and greater pastures and in competition wise. So of course Christian Braun is still set there. He was there, won the championship last year. He's still there. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope still in the building. Still Vlad Kansar, he's still there. Colin Gillespie, Aaron Gordon, Justin Holiday, Jay Huff, Reggie Jackson, Nikola Jokic, DeAndre Jordan, Braxton Key, Jamal Murray, Zeke Naji. He just signed a deal. He's staying put. Jalen Pickett, Michael Porter Jr., Julian Strother, Hunter Tyson, and Peyton Watson. So as we look at that, as we hear these names, like this is basically they're the same team in some essence. They might have got a little bit better, but they're the same team in a certain essence. The same team in which took out the Los Angeles Lakers 4-0 sweep. I don't know, Denver. I don't know. Denver might not have what it takes. We are listening and thinking about, and this Milwaukee squad is, as I go further and further into looking at some of these teams, this Milwaukee squad is seeming a little more potent as I speak. But of course, like I said, the number 4 team, that being the Phoenix Suns, in essence, and like this is on paper. Take in consideration, this is on paper when they're having this conversation. So looking at this and speaking on it is on paper. We'll know what's going to be an aspect, because this was the Denver Nuggets was the same team on paper last year, and they found their way. And once they got their stride, they didn't relinquish that number 1 spot, and they could continue to apply pressure and end up in the state being the champions once it was all said and done. So that could be a whole, a bottle of to uncork. But looking at this Phoenix team, they got a little grit and grime, and and they got Grayson Allen, of course, public enemy number 1 at times, but Grayson Allen, Aduke Azabaki, Bates Diop, Bradley Beal, Bo, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Drew Eubanks, Jordan Goodwin, Eric Gordon, Damian Lee, Saban Lee, Nasir Little, Chamiz Metu, Nusuf Nurkic, Josh Okogie, and Yuta Watanabe. Woo! Phoenix. But of course, they have to put that together. It all has to work. But that's not a bad squad on paper. That's not a bad squad on paper. Not bad at all. Does Phoenix finally have what it needs to put themselves in that next stratosphere? And what it would be interesting enough to sit up and see that it would be after sending my man on packing up the road, in which, like I said, the fifth ranked team in that equation when it comes to the sports book, with the single digit odds amongst them and being with being front runners. 15, the Golden State Warriors, of course, we know kept go Steph Curry still on the roster. Usman Garuba, Draymond Green, who will not be playing tonight. He's currently with an injury, so Draymond Green won't be playing tonight. That might be a problem for Phoenix. Not they might be a problem for Golden State. Trace Jackson Davis, Corey Joseph, Jonathan Kuminga, Kevin Looney, Moses Moody, Chris Paul, Gary Payton II, Brandon Poskamiski, Lester Quinones, Jerome Robinson, Dario Saric, Klay Thompson, and Andrew Wiggins. So some of the usual suspects in which we've heard before and seen before. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I just think that they're not going to be able to compete, especially with their heart and soul being Draymond Green, that provides all those little intricacies in which you can't get from other players unless other players have been watching and they're checking in. They're like, okay, I'm going to mimic and do that. I don't know. So right now, I hate to say this, on paper, right? And I even look at other rosters, but on paper right now, I'm thinking and feeling and seeing, although I won't have a problem with being wrong, but as we get ready to get kicked off, of course, I'm going to probably change this after I get a chance to see all the teams play. So by the week 2, I'm going to run it back and give what my predictions of who are we looking at potentially after the first week or two. I give it a month. I give it a full month. So come November time frame, middle November, end of November, actually December. Come December, I'm going to give a full-fledged commitment to who I think is looking the nicest and going. But right now, on paper, if I was to say, after going through a couple of these rosters, Phoenix and Milwaukee might be that matchup going forth. I don't know. We got to see. That was Golden State. Phoenix looking pretty nifty themselves. Of course, I gotta take a look at it at the Lakers. I mean, it would be so silly of me not, but I want to take a look at the Lakers. I want to check out Memphis. We'll bring up San Antonio, and last but not least, the Timberwolves. Although I bring up, I think someone that continues to sit in the balance and not really get the love in which they probably should deserve is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I would even say the Brooklyn Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets might be one of those teams. So it's a couple, about 6 or 7 teams in which we look at the rosters for GP, just for a little bit of context. The aforementioned Brooklyn Nets, who I said, well, I think each side, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, I think both have possessed teams that are under the radar. So, of course, looking at the Milwaukee Brooklyn Nets, Mikal Bridges, of course, probably the team's best player until maybe we get a different version of Ben Simmons. But Mikal Bridges, Armani Brooks, Nick Claxton's up and coming, Noah Clowney, Spencer Dinwiddie still could be that dude, probably Dorian Finney-Smith, Harry Giles III, Cameron Johnson could be a problem too, Royce O'Neal, Deron Sharp, Ben Simmons, Dennis Smith Jr. We see if he can reemerge. Cam Thomas up and coming. Lonnie Walker the fourth, as he released, so he ends up there. He can potentially, if he shows up like he did for LA, Lonnie Walker could be the fourth. Could be a little bit of issue, especially in this team. Jalen Wilson, Dariq Whitehead, and Trendon Walford. Now, of course, I know one thing I did catch is one in which I have to see if we're gonna take a look at the roster. The Washington Wizards. So the Washington Wizards is looking like they're going to be interesting. Jordan Poole looking like he is having a time, basically looking at probably taking over that team. Him, Kuzma, for the most part. They did release Taj Gibson, long time big man, journeyman at this point. I don't know if he actually gets back on the squad or is that going to be calling it quits. I'm very sure some team probably ends up picking them up at some point, putting them on a roster, or looking to utilize his services if they have someone that goes down during injuries or something like that. So serviceable. But you know what? We're gonna get into that. Or I might say the Washington thing. I want to do a little more in-depth look into the Washington Wizards, but we might just take a look at their roster. I might add them to this list. But for the Philadelphia 76ers, for all my Sixers fans that's out there, Mo Bamba in the building, Patrick Beverley, Joel Embiid, Danny Green, James Harden, although we do not have a James Harden signing. Where James Harden is, I don't know. He hasn't showed up to any of the practices. Excuse me. The expectation of him pulling up and being a part of their opener later on in the week is up in the air. Tobias Harris, Daniel House Jr., Frequan Korkmaz, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Milton, Kelly Oubre Jr., Flip Rusev, Paul Reed, Javonte Smart, Jaden Springer, Tabelis, and PJ Tucker makes up their squad. Not too bad. I don't know if it continues with the I don't know if it's contention. I mean, you have last year's MVP of the year on the squad. You still have Tobias Harris, who comes and shows up here and there. Tyrese Maxey isn't anything to sneeze at. I don't know who fills the void for James Harden, though. Let's see. I'm interested in seeing what they roll out on their first night with James Harden and I being there. Maybe D'Anthony Melton maybe gets to start, or Kelly Oubre. Yeah, I think Melton or Oubre gets it as a shooting guard, or maybe the point to run the point, because that's what basically James Harden ran. So it's interesting to see. I'm very intrigued to wonder with the James Harden doing what he's doing, what's going to be rolled out in out there in Philadelphia. But looking at this, as I stated, this young team in OKC, is youth movement going to be the key option? I mean, it's going to be the answer to them. Davis Beltrans, of course, Osman Dieng, Luzin Dort, Josh Giddey, Shea Gillis Alexandra, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Joe, Keontae Johnson, Trey Mann, Vasily Mitic, Isaac Puskovic, Oliver Sarr, Cason Wallace, Lindsey Water III, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, and Kenrich Williams. I think they got a young nucleus in OKC, a bunch of players that can go get it for it to some extent. I'm not going to say that. So we're not going to say just off the rip that, you know what I'm saying, I think they're going to make noise in the West, though. I think they're going to continue to be that pesky team that continues to sit around and just be a problem. And it's like you can't get rid of them and you don't know what. So they're going to probably be 6, you know what I'm saying? They can be probably 6 through 8. I mean, 6 through 10, probably, and just cause ruckus at in-state. That's what I see for OKC. Taking consideration, OKC has a lot of draft capital, as I was stating yesterday, 20, 19, and 20 first-round picks, 22 second-round picks over the course of the next 7 years or seasons. So they definitely have an opportunity to build something or trade to build something. So I think you have to keep an eye on Oklahoma City Thunder. Looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, of course, Anthony Edwards is the dude there, continuing to grow. You got Nickel Alexander Walker, Kyle Anderson, Troy Brown Jr. added from the Denver squad, so they bring a winning pedigree. Jalen Clark, Mike Conley, Luca Garza, Rudy Gobert as he comes back from injury. Jaden McDaniels, as we just discussed, signed his deal, 105 years, 136 million. Jordan McLaughlin, Leonard Miller, Shake Milton, Josh Minot, Wendell Moore Jr., Dazen Nix, Nas Reed coming back, and of course, Karl Anthony Towns. So a very big man laden team. I wonder. Again, I think they're a team that possibly definitely has the abilities. Honestly, I'm not going to even hold you to make some noise. Starters: Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. I don't know. I definitely think they can be a problem. He said Towns and Gobert first round exit. So you know what? But Nas Reed to be back. So maybe we don't see Towns and Gobert. We know we're going to see Towns and Gobert. But you got Nas Reed that's going to be back in the fray. I don't know. I don't know. I think just like what we do. Okay, I will say this, Maurice. What we do know is that Anthony Edwards can do it on his own. So Towns will have to show up. Had Towns played all last year, would we have seen a different team? Would we have seen a different outcome? I don't know, potentially. But from that roster, it seems like it can be problematic. They can be problematic, I think, for the rest of the West. Maybe able to compete a little more than some teams. So it remains to be seen. But you could be right. Maybe Gobert has a different outlook on what he's supposed to be doing. Maybe because think about it. Honestly, I think if Reed would have been there last year, we probably wouldn't have seen LA because he was giving them fits to begin with initially. San Antonio Spurs, of course, with the addition of Victor Wembanyama. Are they going to be able to compete? Are they able? We'll need another perimeter creator. They do. So there is something that's needed out there, honestly, unless they have it in house already. And now you're going to see someone step forward and take the reins. So it's interesting. I'm interested. I'm really, really, really locked in and want to see what that. Being I get off a little late, I'm probably going to be able to catch a lot of the late games and stuff like that. The games in which people ain't just looking at on the NBA channel. So we definitely going to see. But San Antonio, so right here in San Antonio, I'm going to make it my business to catch some of these live games, even though they're not going to be the Lakers games, but I'm going to go pull up in the arena to see what the Spurs is working with. Dominic Barlow, Charles Bassey, Charles Bediak, Malachi Branham, Julian Champagny, CD Cisco, Zach Collins just signed his deal. They hoping that he's going to be able to be productive. Devontae Graham, Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, Doug McDermott, CD Osman, Sabari, Rice, Jeremy Socon, Devin Vessel, of course, another two that signed their deals being extended. Victor Wembanyama and Blake Wesley. A young team, very young team. Not too much of veteran presence. Damn, they hella young. The oldest player on their team is Devontae Graham, is 28. So we definitely gonna see how this goes down for the San Antonio Spurs. I don't look for them to make any noise, but I do look for them to probably be a young and scrappy team. I know Pop's gonna have his work cut out for him to try to guide them and put them on the right track to even be a contender or so much, even if it's a pretender. You know what I'm saying? If you're a pretender, you're basically in that zone to where you're pretty close to being a team that can show up, but you know what I'm saying, it's just not working. But a pretty young squad for the most part. Goodness gracious. Oh, Doug McDermott, he's the oldest at 31. Hella young. So we'll see how it ends up playing out in Portland. I mean, in San Antonio. Another team to take a look at. Of course, you can't go without talking about the Grizzlies. If we talk about Minnesota, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies are somewhat in the same, just missing a couple of things before they end up becoming that dominant factor. Of course, we know Steve Adams, he's out for the year with the injury. So they're going to have to pick up a rim protector or find a rim protector in someone else or in someone to help. We know they have Jerry Jackson Jr., but someone to assist with Jerry Jackson Jr. in some aspect, maybe, as I talked about yesterday, maybe it's Kenny Lofton Jr. But in case, Steven Adams, Santi Adama, Desmond Bain, Brandon Clark, that's another possibility. Jacoby Gilliard, G.G. Jackson II, Jaren Jackson Jr., Luke Kennard, John Conchar, Jake LaRavia, Kenneth Lofton Jr., John Morant. Of course, we know he's going to be out 25 games. David Roddy, Derrick Rose, Marcus Smart, Xavier Tillman Sr., another opportunity. Zaire Williams and Vince Williams Jr. As I say, this game, they're made up, their composition is a little different to where I think they might be a little more put in position to be a little more competitive than Timberwolves. And when you look at a head-to-head matchup, especially when the Timberwolves is hella heavy at big men and rim protectors, but all of those rim protectors aren't the most skilled. But I think a little more skilled and agility and for the Memphis Grizzlies. So I definitely think they're a different aspect. Looking at it, go to my cross-country rivals before I get to, of course, my beloved Lakers. The Los Angeles Clippers, even though they continue to try to get their hands on James Harden, as I seen something this morning where it said the Philadelphia 76ers are asking for Terrence Mann and 2 first-round picks for James Harden. I don't think that's going to go. I don't think Clippers want James Harden that bad, but Terrence Mann seems to be a commodity that's up and coming. We already know that he's going to be running the point guard most likely, or he's expected to be very versatile. As said by Tyronn Lue, Terrence Mann can defend 1 through 4 for the most part. Has the ability to run the point or play the 2 offensively. So we're going to see how that goes. But, of course, you have Nicholas Batum, Brandon Boston Jr., Kobe Brown, Amir Coffey, Robert Covington, Musa Diabate, Paul George, Bones Highland, Kawhi Leonard, Terrence Mann, Kenyon Martin Jr., Jordan Miller, Marcus Morris Sr., Mason Plumlee, Norman Powell, Joshua Primo, Russell Westbrook, and Ivica Zubac. I don't like the composition of that team. And that's based on the fact of why can't the Lakers beat the Clippers? Why do we continue to have these problems? Let's end this, LA. No more being ran out your own building. Or as well as we don't want to see a situation where y'all get ran through by the Clippers while they're on their way going to their arena up the street. Your old arena at that. Come on, have some heart. Let's see what we can do to take care of business in LA. If we can do anything, we need to take care of business in LA with the Clippers. 3-0. Nakagichi Gotti battle rap. 3-0. And of course, last but not least, the Los Angeles Lakers, as we know, Colin Castleton holding down, being picked up. Max Christie, Anthony Davis, Alex Fudge, Ryu Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, Demoy Hodge, Jalen Hood, Shafino. Come on, Jalen, we need you to pick it up, bruh. I need you to be like a Tyler Horton Tucker. Like, we didn't see you coming. And then, bam, here you are. Maxwell Lewis, LeBron James, Sharon Prince, Austin Reeves, Cam Reddish, D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, and Christian Wood. Now, of course, Christian Wood I thought was going to be a great pickup. And hopefully that remains to be the same. As we all know, Darvin Ham already let it be known what his starters will be tonight, most likely. That being, of course, LeBron James, DeAndre Russell, Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, and Teron Prince. Of course, Jared Vanderbilt and Jalen Hood Schifino are currently out, so they won't even be getting any burn. But we will definitely see Teron Prince. So we're gonna see LeBron push to the to the 4. I think Teron to the 3, or maybe not. Maybe Teron starts out as the 4 for a reason. I don't know. But you have that. So the likes of having Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Christian Wood coming off the bench. I can live with. I think Cam Reddish now puts into that next rotation. So I would think I have a prediction that a rotation is going to be a 8-man rotation. I think we see an 8-man. No, 9. I give 9. Definitely a 9. 9-man rotation tonight. I think that's what we see. 9-man rotation. The other 4 rotating players being Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, Wood, and Hayes. But it might be 8. But we should see. I think we get an 8-man rotation. If we see the full bench, I'd be interested. If we see Colin or Max tonight, I will be surprised. But I definitely think we see Jackson, Gabe, and Rui without a doubt tonight in competition. So just a couple of the teams is taking a look. So definitely look forward to tapping in and seeing that. I'll be at work, but I guess I'll pull it up on my phone or iPad so I can be able to take a look at it. We got sparring tonight, so at some point the boxes will be locked into that, and I'll lock into another sparring match. What's good, Coach Ferris? See, I wasn't even going to say anything, Coach. You know what, Coach? We good. That's only 2 losses. That's 2 losses. As long, dang, Coach, you're triggering me. So we have a chance, Coach. We should have a chance. I think we get back to a top-ranked bowl game. We're not being in that CFP, but we will get back to a top-ranked bowl game. And I don't think Oklahoma. I think what this is all said to go, USC and Oklahoma might have the same record at the end of the year, and they're probably going to be both. Hell, they might even end playing each other in a bowl game. I wish they would, and I wish that game would come here to San Antonio so I could sit up and pull it with Bishop, and I could watch them get mishandled by Caleb Williams. So I guess small victories. But I'll go ahead and end it on that. Coach had to sit up and come in, but be sure to tap in. Probably going to be here tomorrow talking about these 2 double headers yesterday, whatever they got coming out in college football. Of course, we know tonight the game 7 of the NLCS game going down. Will it be Arizona? Will it be Philly? I don't know. We'll see about that. Coach Paris, what about them? You know what? Tomorrow we'll take a look at some other teams because Coach Paris will spark me now. We'll take a look at Chicago, see what Chicago got cracking down there. We already see what they got in the Bears, Illini, or other teams. But in any case, I greatly appreciate y'all tapping in. Be sure to be looking out, like I said, getting some of these coaches, all service coaches, men's and women, to so that way they have this time to shine and talk. I'm very sure we got a lot of seasoned coaches, so it's probably not going to be too much shit talking, honestly. But they get a chance to talk about it. We're going to speak about what is it like for now the Air Force, for the most part, to be living in the shadow of the Army, because they have been very dominant over the course of the last couple of years, men's and women's. So we'll get a chance to talk about that, to see what Coach Paris and his crew might have to say about that. Of course, hopefully, Coach Bartley and company say about that. Is this a year in which the Army gets yet another gold victory with the women and men's suite? We'll see how that's going down, but of course, be locked in when you see that notification or you see that little blurb that they know all forces on deck. Y'all know what it is. Until then, it's me, your man, Trey the Commish. I'll holler at y'all. Enjoy y'all's Tuesday. Have a taco or some type of Latin dish or anything, or not. It doesn't make a difference. Peace.